The ship's lights blinked as it entered Earth's atmosphere. Inside, senior xenobiologist Tae-ho Kim gripped his seat tightly. Warning alarms blared throughout the cabin. Atmosphere toxicity levels beyond safety parameters, the ship's computer announced. Gravitational pull exceeding recommended limits. Temperature variations extreme. Tae-ho looked at his research assistant, Soo-min Park, whose gray skin had turned an even paler shade. "Remember our training," Tae-ho said. "Sol 3 is classified as a Class 12 death world for good reason. But we are here to observe only. The protective shields will keep us safe." The Galactic Confederation had sent them on this mission to study humans. These strange beings somehow lived on a planet that should kill them. Earth had storms that could tear buildings apart, shaking ground that swallowed cities, and extreme temperatures that ranged from burning hot to freezing cold, often in the same region. Most puzzling of all, humans didn't just survive here. They thrived. "Recording devices active," Soo-min said, trying to sound calm as the ship shook violently. "Observation mode engage." Their ship settled into orbit around Earth. The blue-green planet looked peaceful from space, but the sensors told a different story. The readings were hard to believe. Oxygen, a highly reactive gas, made up a large part of the atmosphere. The gravity was nearly twice what their species was used to. And the weather systems, violent storms moved across the planet constantly. "Look there," Tae-ho pointed at the screen. "That spinning cloud formation, the database calls it a hurricane. It can produce winds strong enough to tear the exoskeleton off a Rigelian war beast." Soo-min watched the swirling cloud with wide eyes, and humans just live with these. They build structures to withstand them. Sometimes the structures fail, and humans die. But mostly, they survive. For 3 days, they observed Earth from orbit. They watched humans climb frozen mountains for fun. They saw them swim in oceans filled with predators. They even spotted some humans jumping out of flying vehicles with only pieces of cloth to slow their fall. "I don't understand," Soo-min said. "Are they testing their mortality? Do they have a death wish?" Tae-ho shook his head. "The research suggests they find danger. Exciting." On the 4th day, disaster struck. A massive solar flare hit Earth's magnetic field, creating a powerful electromagnetic storm. Their ship's cloaking device failed. Then the navigation system went offline. "We're being pulled down," Soo-min shouted as red lights flashed across every control panel. "Emergency landing protocols." Tae-ho ordered the computer. "Find the least populated area within range." The ship's computer selected a landing zone in a northern region humans called Canada. As they plummeted through the atmosphere, their external cameras showed vast forests and mountains covered in white frozen water. Snow, the database called it. The landing was rough. The ship crashed through trees before coming to rest in a small clearing. Warning messages filled the screens. External temperature, -15 degrees Celsius. Unsafe for unprotected exposure. Atmosphere, oxygen levels toxic without filtration. "Put on your environmental protection suits," Tae-ho ordered. "We need to assess the damage." Their suits were the best the Confederation could make, designed to protect against almost any hostile environment. Even so, stepping onto the surface of a Class 12 death world made them both tremble. The cold hit them immediately. Even through their suits, they could feel the bite of the freezing air. The gravity pulled at them, making each step an effort. "The ship needs repairs," Soo-min said, examining the damaged hull. "The main propulsion system is offline." "Can we fix it?" Before Soo-min could answer, a strange sound came from the trees. Both aliens froze. A figure emerged from the forest. A human, walking on 2 legs, covered in thick artificial skins. "Hello there," the human called out in a friendly voice. "Are you folks all right?" "Saw something come down pretty hard." Tae-ho and Soo-min looked at each other in panic. Their mission was supposed to be secret. First contact wasn't authorized. The human walked closer, seemingly untroubled by the freezing temperature or the sight of two clearly non-human beings. He was male, with dark hair visible under a head covering. "I'm Ji-Woo Lee," he said, stopping a respectful distance away. "I've got a cabin about 2 miles from here. Weather report says a blizzard's coming in. You might want to find shelter." Tai-ho stepped forward, activating his translation device. "You are not afraid of us." Ji-Woo shrugged. "Should I be? You look like you're having ship trouble, not invasion trouble. Besides, you're not the strangest thing I've seen in these woods." Su-min joined them. "Our ship needs repairs. We cannot leave." Ji-Woo looked at the sky. Dark clouds were gathering. "That storm will drop 3 feet of snow by morning. Your ship will be buried. Let me help you secure it, then you should come with me until it passes." Tai-ho hesitated. This wasn't protocol. But neither was crash landing on a death world. "We accept your help," he said finally. Ji-Woo nodded and moved toward the ship. He showed surprising strength, helping them move broken pieces and cover exposed sections with a waterproof material from his pack. "What brings you to Earth?" he asked as they worked. "Research," Tai-ho said simply. Ji-Woo smiled. "Studying humans. Most people live in cities now. Not many out here in the wilderness. If you want to see how we really deal with this planet, though, the wild places show it best." As they finished securing the ship, the wind began to pick up. Snow started falling, first lightly, then in thick, swirling patterns. "Time to go," Ji-Woo said. "Storm's coming faster than expected." They followed him into the forest. The wind howled, blowing snow into drifts. The temperature dropped further. Tai-ho checked his suit's readings with alarm. "How can you survive in this?" he asked Ji-Woo. The human trudged forward, breaking a path through deepening snow. This is nothing. Wait until spring when the bears wake up. That's when things get interesting." They walked for what felt like hours, though Tai-ho's chronometer showed only 40 minutes had passed. The gravity and cold were exhausting them despite their suits' support systems. Finally, a wooden structure appeared ahead, Ji-Woo's cabin. He opened the door and ushered them inside. The interior was simple but warm. A fire burned in a stone fireplace, radiating heat. Ji-Woo immediately began removing his outer layers. "Aren't you afraid of contamination?" Su-min asked, watching with horror as the human exposed himself to the cabin's air. Ji-Woo laughed. "This is some of the cleanest air on the planet. City folk, huh?" He moved to a cooking area and began heating water. "You can keep your suits on if you need to, but you're welcome to make yourselves comfortable. The storm will probably last a couple of days." Tai-ho looked at the readings on his suit. The inside temperature was 22 degrees Celsius, warm enough for their species without protection. After running several safety checks, he cautiously removed his helmet. The air smelled rich and strange, full of organic compounds his sensors identified as wood, smoke, and various plant materials. He took a careful breath. His lungs burned slightly from the oxygen content, but his filtration implants adjusted quickly. "Your planet is intense," Tai-ho said. Ji-Woo handed him a steaming cup. "Tea. It's just plants and hot water. Should be safe for you. And yeah, Earth can be rough, but that's why we humans are the way we are. We adapt." Through the cabin's window, they could see the blizzard raging. Trees bent in the wind. Snow piled higher by the minute. "How did your species evolve to withstand such conditions?" Su-min asked, finally removing her helmet too. Ji-Woo sipped his tea. "We didn't start out tough. We started out smart. We figured out fire, tools, clothes, shelter. We learned to work together. The planet tried to kill us, so we got better at staying alive." As night fell, the storm grew stronger. The wind screamed around the cabin like a living thing trying to get in. But inside, it was warm and secure. Tai-ho made notes on his datapad. The Confederation had severely underestimated humans. They weren't just surviving on a death world. They had mastered it. "Tomorrow, I'll help you with your ship repairs," Jiwoo said as he prepared sleeping areas for them. "But for now, rest. You're safe here." That night, as Taeho tried to sleep under the strange sound of wind and the weight of Earth's gravity, he realized something important. Their mission wasn't just to study how humans survived on a death world. They needed to understand why the rest of the galaxy should be very, very careful about these death world survivors. 3 days passed before the blizzard ended. During this time, Taeho and Su-min learned more about humans than they had in all their previous research. They watched as Jiwoo chopped wood in the freezing cold, his breath making clouds in the air. They saw him drink water that would be filtered 10 times before any Confederation citizen would touch it. Most shocking of all, they watched him eat food that came directly from Earth's soil and animals. "You're telling me you actually killed this animal yourself?" Su-min asked as Jiwoo cooked meat over his fire. "Tracked it for 2 days," Jiwoo said proudly. "Clean shot. Used every part. That's how my grandfather taught me." When the snow stopped falling, they returned to the ship. The damage was worse than they had feared. The communication system was beyond repair. "We need to contact our leaders," Taeho explained to Jiwoo. "Our mission was only to observe. First contact was not planned." Jiwoo thought for a moment. "There's a research station about 50 miles south. They have satellite communications. I can take you there." 50 miles. Su-min looked worried. In this environment, Jiwoo smiled. "I have a snowmobile. It'll be fun." Fun was not how Taeho would describe the journey. The snowmobile was a noisy machine that moved at terrifying speeds across the snow. Every bump sent pain through his body. The cold air rushed past their suits. Several times they saw large animal tracks that Jiwoo called wolf and moose. "Wolves hunt in packs," Jiwoo explained casually. "They can bring down animals 5 times their size. Moose can weigh 1,000 pounds and have antlers that could spear you through." "And humans live among these creatures willingly?" Taeho asked. "These days, most don't. But our ancestors did. Those who survived passed on their genes. That's why we're tough." The research station was a group of modern buildings surrounded by high fences. When they arrived, the human scientists were shocked to see aliens. But unlike the Confederation's careful protocols for new species contact, these humans quickly adapted to the situation. "So you're studying us?" asked Dr. Han, the station director. "That's funny. We thought we were the only ones doing the studying in this galaxy." Within hours, the news of alien visitors spread around the world. Government officials arrived. Military units secured the area. But there was no panic, no chaos, just organized response to a new reality. "Your species adapts quickly to change," Taeho noted to Dr. Han. "We have to," she replied. "Our planet doesn't give us much choice." 1 week later, Taeho stood before the United Nations in New York City. Confederation rescue ships were on their way. But until then, he was Earth's first alien diplomat. "The Galactic Confederation wishes peaceful relations with Earth," he told the human leaders. "We have much to learn from each other." The humans listened carefully. Then they made a proposal that shocked him. They wanted to send representatives back to the Confederation capital on Serenity Prime. "Are you aware of the differences between our worlds?" Taeho asked the human delegation privately. "Serenity Prime has 1/3 of Earth's gravity. The temperature never varies more than 5 degrees. There are no predators, no diseases, no natural disasters." "Sounds boring," said Hyun Sunam, a soldier chosen as one of Earth's representatives. He was tall and strong, with short black hair and alert eyes. "But we'll manage." The second human representative was Yu Jin Kang, a scientist who studied extreme environments. She had a calm face and practical clothes. "We're very interested in how other species live in less challenging conditions," she said. When the Confederation rescue ship arrived, Earth's governments had already prepared formal diplomatic relations. The ship's captain was shocked to find Taeho living comfortably among humans without his protective suit. "Their world is harsh," Taeho explained, "but humans are remarkable. They don't just survive here, they love it." The journey to Serenity Prime took 30 days by Confederation ship. During this time, Taeho watched with fascination as Hyun-soo and Yoo-jin adjusted to space travel. "The artificial gravity is lower than Earth's," Hyun-soo complained, doing push-ups in his cabin. "I'll lose muscle if I don't exercise more." Most species would celebrate lower gravity. Humans worried about getting weaker. "We've prepared special accommodations to simulate Earth conditions," Taeho explained as they approached the gleaming world of Serenity Prime. "The gravity will be adjusted to 70% of Earth's to ease your transition." Hyun-soo frowned. "You're lowering the gravity for us? Won't that make us weaker over time?" The question stunned Taeho. He had never considered that reduced hardship might be seen as a problem. When they landed on Serenity Prime, crowds of Confederation citizens gathered to see the humans. News had spread about the DEATHWORLD species. Everyone wanted to glimpse these beings who survived conditions that would kill most sentient life. "Look at them," whispered one Confederation citizen to another. "No exoskeletons, no protective scales, not even proper claws. How do they defend themselves?" The humans were taken to the Earth Embassy, a building specially designed for them. Inside, the gravity was set higher, the temperature allowed to fluctuate, and the air adjusted to match Earth's composition. "You can remove your filtration masks here," the embassy director told them. "We've replicated Earth conditions as closely as possible." Yoo-jin looked around the facility. "Thank you, but we can adapt to your normal conditions if needed. We don't want special treatment." The director blinked in surprise. "But our atmosphere would be uncomfortable for you." "Uncomfortable isn't the same as impossible," Hyun-soo said. "Humans are good at dealing with discomfort." In the days that followed, the humans became the most fascinating beings on Serenity Prime. Scientists and ordinary citizens alike watched in amazement as Hyun-soo conducted his morning exercise routine. Running 10 kilometers, performing hundreds of push-ups, and lifting weights that would crush most Confederation citizens. "Is he some kind of enhanced super soldier?" asked a Confederation military officer. "No," Taeho explained. "This is normal for human military personnel. Their bodies are naturally dense with muscle due to Earth's gravity." Meanwhile, Yoo-jin attended scientific conferences where she casually mentioned experiences that horrified her audience. "Yes, I've been caught in 3 hurricanes," she told a group of weather scientists. "The last one had winds over 150 miles per hour. My research station's roof was torn off, but we collected great data." The scientists stared at her in shock. "You survived winds that strong?" one asked. "Of course. We designed a station to lose its roof but keep its foundation. We were strapped in safely. It was loud, but not particularly dangerous if you prepare properly." The defining moment came during a diplomatic dinner with high-ranking Confederation officials. Halfway through the meal, the ground trembled slightly, a minor earthquake, rare on Serenity Prime. Panic erupted among the assembled dignitaries. Some hid under tables. Others ran for emergency shelters. Alarms blared throughout the building. But Hyun-soo and Yoo-jin humbly continued eating. "Is something wrong?" Hyun-soo asked, noticing the commotion. "Earthquake!" cried a Confederation minister. "We must evacuate." Hyun-soo took another bite of food. This isn't an earthquake. We can barely feel it." Yoo-jin nodded. "Wake us when it reaches at least a 5.0 on the Richter scale. That's when things start falling off shelves." The room went silent as the shaking stopped. The Confederation representatives slowly returned to their seats, looking at the humans with new eyes. "I think we've miscalculated," the Confederation Security Minister whispered to Taeho. "These humans aren't just surviving a death world. They're forged by it." That night, the Confederation Security Council held an emergency meeting. Taiho was called to testify about humans. "Are they a threat?" asked the council leader. Taiho thought carefully before answering. "Not in the way you mean. They don't wish us harm. But yes, they are dangerous, not because they want to hurt us, but because what we consider deadly, they consider normal. Their natural physical capabilities exceed our special forces. Their tolerance for pain, their endurance, their adaptability, all are beyond our understanding." "Should we restrict contact?" another council member asked. "No," Taiho said firmly. "We should learn from them. Humans don't just survive adversity. They thrive on it. They grow stronger where we would falter. And most importantly, they're curious about us. They want to learn, to explore, to connect." The council debated long into the night. Some feared the humans. Others were fascinated by them. But all agreed on one thing. The arrival of humans had changed the Confederation forever. As the meeting ended, Taiho looked out a window at the peaceful world of Serenity Prime. For the first time, he wondered if too much safety created its own kind of weakness. Perhaps the humans had something to teach them after all. 6 months passed. Hyun-Soo and Yoo-Jin stayed on Serenity Prime as Earth's representatives. They adapted well to the peaceful planet, though they continued their strange human habits. Hyun-Soo built a training room with Earth-level gravity where he exercised daily. Yoo-Jin collected samples of Serenity Prime's gentle weather patterns, calling them fascinating in their predictability. More humans arrived as trade relations opened between Earth and the Confederation. Human goods, especially their art, music, and food, became highly popular. Confederation citizens were drawn to the raw emotion in human creations. It was so different from their own careful, controlled expression. Taiho had been promoted to Special Human Relations Officer. He worked closely with the Earth Embassy and had learned to enjoy some human customs. He drank coffee now, though most Confederation species found it too bitter. He even tried spicy food, which made his sensing organs burn but created an interesting feeling afterward. Then disaster struck. The Varn Dominion, longtime rivals of the Confederation, launched a surprise attack on 3 border worlds. The Varn were one of the few species nearly as tough as humans. They had evolved on a harsh desert planet and had built an empire through force. "They've used bioweapons," announced the Confederation Defense Minister at an emergency council meeting. "The weapons target our common genetic markers. Our people are dying by the thousands." Hyun-Soo and Yoo-Jin attended the meeting as Earth observers. They listened quietly as reports came in from the attacked planets. "Conditions on Proxima Ii are deteriorating rapidly," reported a military commander. "Radiation levels are at 500 rems and rising. The atmosphere is filled with toxic compounds. Temperature fluctuations are extreme due to damaged climate systems. Rescue teams cannot approach the settlements," added another official. "The conditions are too dangerous, even with our best protective gear." The council chamber grew silent as the grim news continued. Then Hyun-Soo stood up. "These conditions are survivable," he said. Everyone turned to look at him. "What did you say?" asked the council leader. "The conditions you're describing," Hyun-Soo explained. "They sound like parts of Earth after natural disasters. We have specialists trained for exactly these scenarios." "He's right," Yoo-Jin added. "Our emergency teams regularly work in radiation zones, toxic atmospheres, and temperature extremes." "Are you offering help?" asked the defense minister. "Yes," Hyun-Soo said simply. "We can send rescue teams immediately." Within 3 days, the first human disaster response ships arrived at the attacked worlds. They carried search and rescue experts, hazardous environment engineers, and emergency medical personnel. Taiho watched in amazement as the humans prepared to descend to Proxima Ii, the worst-hit planet. They wore protective suits much lighter than Confederation gear. Some carried simple tools and medical kits. "Are you certain your protection is adequate?" Taiho asked the team leader, Do-Hyun Choi. Do-Hyun checked his radiation meter. "Our suits are designed for worse conditions than this, And humans can handle more radiation than your species. We'll be fine. The Confederation military provided video feeds from the human team's helmet cameras. Officials gathered in command centers to watch as humans entered environments that had killed Confederation rescue workers. On Proxima II, Du Hyun's team moved through a ruined city. Buildings lay collapsed. Fires burned uncontrolled. The air was filled with smoke and toxic chemicals. But the humans moved confidently, calling out for survivors and digging through rubble. "Found one," shouted a team member, lifting a heavy concrete slab that would have required machinery for most Confederation species. Beneath it was an injured Proximan child. "Get a medical kit," Du Hyun ordered, "and set up an extraction point. We need to move these survivors to a clean zone." Hour after hour, the humans worked without rest. They carried survivors twice their size. They entered burning buildings. They waded through flooded areas filled with unknown chemicals. In the Confederation Command Center, officials watched in stunned silence. "Their natural radiation resistance is 20 times greater than ours," said a science officer, checking readings from the human suits. "Their muscle density allows them to work in these conditions for hours without fatigue. Their immune systems are fighting off pathogens that would kill us in minutes." On the 6th day of rescue operations, Du Hyun's team encountered something unexpected. While evacuating a school building, they were attacked by strange creatures. "Varn bioweapons," explained a military analyst watching the feed. "Engineered predators designed to hunt survivors." The creatures were large, with multiple limbs and razor-sharp claws. They moved fast, leaping at the humans from hiding places. The officials expected the humans to retreat. Instead, they watched as Du Hyun grabbed a metal pipe from the rubble. "Defensive positions," he shouted to his team. "Protect the survivors." What followed shocked even those who had come to respect human capabilities. The humans fought the creatures with improvised weapons, pipes, pieces of furniture, construction tools. They coordinated their movements like well-trained soldiers, though they were civilian rescue workers. "They're not just surviving the attack," said a Confederation military commander. "They're winning." When the last creature fell, Du Hyun wiped blood from a cut on his face and turned to check on his team. 2 were injured but insisted they could continue working. "Let's finish evacuating this building," Du Hyun said calmly. "There might be more survivors." Videos of the humans fighting the Varn predators spread throughout the Confederation. Citizens who had seen humans as interesting curiosities now viewed them with awe and some fear. At an emergency session of the Security Council, the defense minister proposed a radical idea. "We should ask Earth to send military assistance," he said. "If their civilian rescue workers can do this, imagine what their trained soldiers could accomplish." Some council members objected. "These humans are too unpredictable, too violent," said one. "We've seen how they fight. Do we want such a species involved in our war?" Hyun-soo was invited to address these concerns. "Humans can be violent, yes," he admitted. "Our history has many wars, but we fight hardest to protect others. We're not interested in conquering your worlds or taking your resources. We have what we need on Earth." "Then why would you help us?" asked the council leader. "Because we can," Hyun-soo said simply. "Because it's the right thing to do. And because we understand something you're just learning. Survival often depends on helping each other." The council voted to accept human military assistance. Within weeks, Earth ships arrived carrying soldiers, equipment, and weapons. Taeho observed the human military with fascination. They were disciplined, efficient, and surprisingly gentle with civilians. But when they faced Varn forces, they were unstoppable. The Varn had expected their bioweapons to weaken Confederation resistance. They had not prepared for humans, who were immune to most of their weapons. Human soldiers could breathe air that killed Varn troops. They could fight in radiation zones without protection. They could operate in gravitational conditions that crushed standard equipment. On a video call with Confederation leaders, the human general delivered a simple message. We've pushed Varn forces back from 2 planets. The third will be secure within a week. Their bioweapons have been neutralized. How? Asked the stunned defense minister. Our scientists said it would take months to develop countermeasures. The general shrugged. Their weapons were designed to attack specific genetic sequences common in Confederation species. Human DNA is different enough that the weapons don't affect us. We're cleaning up the affected areas now. That evening, Tai-Ho met with Hyun-Soo at the Earth Embassy. They sat on a balcony overlooking Serenity Prime's capital city. The peaceful planet looked the same as always, its gentle weather and perfect temperature unchanged by the distant war. I think I understand now, Tai-Ho said. Earth didn't just make humans strong physically. It taught you to face problems that seem impossible. Hyun-Soo nodded. That's our secret. We expect things to be hard. We prepare for disasters. We train for the worst. And when the worst actually happens, he gestured toward the stars where human ships were helping defend Confederation worlds. We're ready. For the first time in its long history, the Confederation faced an enemy it couldn't overcome through careful diplomacy or superior technology. And for the first time, it had allies who thrived in crisis. The DEATHWORLD humans had become the Confederation's greatest hope. 3 months after the Varn attacks began, the war ended. Human military forces had pushed the Varn back to their borders. The Varn leaders, shocked by their defeat, asked for peace talks. At the signing ceremony, the Varn ambassador could not hide his curiosity about the humans. We studied all Confederation species before our attack, he said to Hyun-Soo. We knew their weaknesses, but you humans were unknown to us. How did your kind become so resilient? Hyun-Soo smiled. We come from a planet that tried to kill us every day. It only made us stronger. The Varn ambassador blinked his multiple eyes. Perhaps we should have done more research before starting this war. After the peace treaty was signed, the Confederation Council held a special meeting. The topic was simple: how to thank the humans for their help. We offer Earth full membership in the Confederation, said the council leader, with all rights and privileges. And we offer technology, added the science minister. We can help make Earth safer. We can reduce your storms, stabilize your ground movements, control your temperature ranges. The human representatives listened politely. Then Yu-Jin stood to respond. We thank you for your offers, she said. We accept Confederation membership, but we must decline the technology to change Earth. The council members looked confused. But why? Asked the science minister. We could make your world peaceful, like Serenity Prime. Earth's challenges made us who we are, Yu-Jin explained. Its dangers forced us to adapt, to innovate, to work together. We don't want to lose that. Besides, Hyun-Soo added with a smile, many humans enjoy our planet's extremes. We climb our highest mountains for fun. We surf our biggest waves for sport. We explore our deepest caves for adventure. The Confederation officials struggled to understand this perspective. Why would any species choose danger when safety was possible? 1 year after first contact, the Galactic Confederation officially reclassified Earth. It was still technically a death world, but with a special note. Home to a species uniquely adapted to thrive in conditions considered lethal to most sentient life. On Serenity Prime, the Earth Embassy expanded. More humans arrived as diplomats, teachers, and cultural ambassadors. A special wing was built where the gravity was set to Earth normal, and the temperature changed with Earth's seasons. Most Confederation citizens found these conditions physically challenging, but many visited out of curiosity. Tai-Ho, now the Confederation's ambassador to Earth, returned to the planet that had once terrified him. His first stop was Canada, where he met with Ji-Woo Lee, the human who had first helped him understand Earth's inhabitants. You look comfortable here now, Ji-Woo noted as they sat on his cabin porch. No protection suit. Tai-Ho nodded. I've adapted. I still find your gravity tiring, but I've grown stronger. And I've learned to appreciate your weather changes. As if on cue, dark clouds gathered on the horizon. Thunder rumbled in the distance. "Storm coming," Jiwoo said, sipping his coffee. "A big one by the look of those clouds." In the past, Taeho would have rushed inside at the first sign of danger. Now he stayed seated, watching the approaching storm with interest. "You know what I've learned about humans," Taeho said. "It's not just that you've adapted to this death world. You've fallen in love with it." Jiwoo nodded as lightning flashed across the sky. "That's our secret. The predators, the disasters, the extremes, they didn't just make us strong. They made us who we are." Across the galaxy, the relationship between humans and other species continued to evolve. Some Confederation citizens feared humans, calling them unpredictable and potentially dangerous, but most came to value their new allies. Confederation military academies added human instructors to teach survival techniques. Hospitals studied human medicine for its insights into trauma care. Explorers sought human guides when venturing into challenging environments. The most surprising development happened on Serenity Prime. Young Confederation citizens began following what they called the human way. They built training rooms with higher gravity. They took cold showers to experience temperature shock. Some even tried spicy food, though most could only handle the mildest human dishes. "Why would you do this to yourself?" an older citizen asked a young Confederation military cadet who was lifting weights in high gravity. "Because comfort breeds weakness," the cadet replied, repeating the human saying. "I want to be ready for whatever comes." Not all humans were happy on Confederation worlds. Some found the constant peace boring. They missed Earth's unpredictability and challenges, but others discovered new ways to test themselves among the stars. Minho Choi became the first human captain of a Confederation exploration vessel. At the ship's launch ceremony, he addressed the mixed crew of humans and Confederation citizens. "We come from different worlds," he said. "Some peaceful, some harsh. But together, we're stronger than we are apart. Humans bring our adaptability and resilience. You bring your knowledge and technology. Together, we'll explore places neither of us could reach alone." His ship's mission was to investigate worlds at the edge of known space, planets too dangerous for Confederation explorers, but possibly manageable with human help. Back on Earth, Confederation tourists began visiting in small numbers. They came in protective suits and stayed in special domes with controlled environments. But the bravest ventured out to experience Earth directly. Taeho took a group of Confederation scientists to see the Grand Canyon. They stood at the edge, their bodies straining under Earth's gravity, their breathing equipment working hard to filter the oxygen-rich air. "Humans hike to the bottom and back in a single day," Taeho told them. "Some run the entire trail." "Impossible," said one scientist, looking at the steep drop. "The heat, the elevation changes, the physical effort required." "For humans, the impossible is just another challenge," Taeho replied. That evening, he received a message from Hyun-soo, who was helping train Confederation Special Forces. "The recruits asked me today what makes humans so good at surviving." Hyun-soo wrote, "I told them it's not about being stronger or tougher. It's about never giving up, no matter how bad things get. It's about facing fear and doing what needs to be done anyway." Taeho thought about this as he watched the sunset paint the canyon walls red and gold. The beauty and danger of Earth were inseparable. Perhaps that was true throughout the universe. 6 months later, a Confederation research team made an important discovery. Human DNA contained unique repair mechanisms that helped them resist radiation, toxins, and disease. These mechanisms had evolved due to Earth's harsh conditions. "We can use this to develop new medicines," the research leader announced. "Treatments that could save millions of lives across the Confederation." The Confederation had expected to find fragile beings clinging to survival on their death world. Instead, they found a species that had turned adaptation into an art form. On a warm summer evening, Taeho sat with Jiwoo by a campfire under the stars. In the distance, wolves howled, predators that would terrify most Confederation citizens. But Taeho had learned to appreciate Earth's wildness. Do you think humans will change, now that you've seen how peaceful life can be on other worlds? Tahoe asked. Jigu thought for a moment. Some might, but I think most of us will stay true to who we are. We might explore the stars, build colonies on new worlds, make friends with strange beings, but we'll always be the crazy creatures who thrived on a planet that tried to kill them. He pointed to the stars above. We needed a death world to prepare us for the universe. Now we're ready. A meteorite streaked across the sky. Another small danger in a dangerous cosmos. But Tahoe wasn't afraid anymore. He had learned from humans that the universe wasn't meant to be safe. It was meant to be experienced, challenges and all. The Confederation had gained more than allies when they discovered Earth. They had found teachers who showed them how to face an unpredictable universe with courage and adaptability. Humans weren't just survivors of a death world. They were its champions, and now they were champions of the stars.